Mr. Happy Living here, and I'm happy to be broadcasting from WYTV7 in the beautiful Queen City, Charlotte, North Carolina, USA. Hey, friends, join me for a minute and try to imagine how great you'd feel living the unique and distinct life you were put on this planet to live, doing work you love, with people you love, in places you love, and all the while creating something of real value to others. That's what I call a life of significance, and I can tell you it makes a very happy life. And so can Matt Bonestell. He's my guest star today, and he's here to share his unique and distinct journey to his life of significance. Hey, Matt, welcome to the show.
I'm glad to be here. Thank you for having me.
Awesome. Get us started by telling us what you're doing these days to make your mark of significance on the world.
So right now I'm working with our founded Badge for a Badge, which is a nonprofit organization. Came around about 2 years ago. We're out of Charlotte, North Carolina. Our focus is advocating for mental health, especially in first responders, military, veteran, and active. And we like to host a lot of events to kind of bring like-minded individuals together. And we're just major advocates for mental health in that.
Very, very good. Sounds like an awesome cause. So, Matt, let's do a little mathematics now so our friends all around the world can get to know you through our happy formula. It's a simple but very powerful equation that goes like this. Power plus purpose equals happy. So let's start with power. What are your personal practices for building up all the power you need to get things done, whether it's physically or mentally or spiritually or financially or emotionally? In other words, Matt, what do you do on a regular basis to create all the power you need to take really good care of yourself and your loved ones and still have plenty left over to be a giver to others?
Yes, sir. So you said it right there, starting with physically, I'm a big, advocate for mental health, and that derives from physical wellness. So we can build physical resilience through, having a routine every day where you work out. And it might not have to be something wild. Like I know I do a lot of CrossFit and weightlifting. That might be that's high impact for a lot of people. So some might just want to go for a walk, and that right there, get up, move your feet, get the blood flowing, and even that right there will change your mental health. And a lot of it, for me, that's what I think keeps me going, keeps my energy up, helps me, have a better mood throughout the day and keep my energy from when I wake up all the way into the late nights when I'm still working on this nonprofit after my full-time job that I do, 40 hours a week. So that's a big proponent right there, is the physical. Now, everything else I like to say is a lot of it is drive. You got to have passion for what you do. And I have a lot of passion for, making sure everyone that I know is okay, and even people that I don't know. I love meeting strangers and making sure that they're in a spot where they can be better. And that's what this organization is all about. We want to be there for the ones that we love. We want to be there for our friends and family and everybody. But we have to recognize that some people might not have friends and family to lean on. So that's where we can step in as an organization and just say, hey, I'm here. Come talk to me. We can hang out. We can do whatever you need to do. So that a lot of that just keeps me going, knowing that I'm helping people out there, and then, just keeping active and keep open mind.
So you mentioned the, working full-time job and then doing badge for badge through the late hours of the night. And I've discovered something that has to do with this building of power, and it's the difference between earthly energy and spiritual energy. Earthly energy, like physical fitness and mental fitness, when you use it, financial fitness, when you use it, you have to replenish it because it gets depleted. But spiritual energy, when you're doing things you love, or when you fall in love with somebody, or you have a passion for an organization, it's like the more you give, the more you have. So can you talk about, and that's infinite, can you talk about the difference between your experience with earthly energy versus spiritual energy?
Yeah, that's a big component there too. When it comes down to religion, no matter what your religion is, that's gonna really keep you going. I've definitely been in spots in my life where I'm a Christian, and that's kept me going, is saying a prayer, knowing that I'm being looked after by who I worship, and that could be said to anybody in whom you worship and what you choose as a religion. That's not just a one shot thing there. And then earthly energy, I mean, that's people get, they kind of down and out sometimes. And that's kind of why we're here, to help pick you up and keep you going. We don't want to dust yourself off. We're here to walk with you, not in front, and we're right behind you. So there's a major difference, but sometimes when you lay down at night and you want to pray for things that you want to manifest, part of that is you're going to put some of the earthly energy into that. because the doors and opportunities will be there, but you got to do the work to walk through it.
Very good. All right, Matt, let's dive into my favorite power generating concept. It's called a Kaizen state of mind. And it's this beautiful Japanese idea that small incremental improvements add up over time to yield great big results. And I love it because it's based on mindset, not circumstance. Kaizening life is always knowing there's something I can do tomorrow better than I did today. And so it creates this optimistic, gentle, but really a powerful and continuous uplifting of my life day after day after day. So Matt, how does Kaizening your life help you increase your power to continuously become more, you can continuously give more?
Yeah, so and it's more back to the daily routine. You wake up, what do you want to accomplish that day? What are your goals? I know a lot of people, you go to work 8 to 5. Well, after work or even at work, you got your goals at work, you get those done. But let's say you want to get stronger, you want to go work out, you go do that. That's part of that's my routine. That's how I try to stay resilient and stay on top. I want to make sure that because when I'm physically sound, I'm mentally fit. Because mental fitness is probably the key to our whole organization, is you want to be strong in your mind. So, you can start out with, like I said, just get moving. You want to go take a walk, go see a class, go do something, go just get out in the world. You don't want to the worst thing you could do is isolate yourself and sit. So I would say a big component is socializing and things like that. So, on a daily routine, I write out what I need to do that day. I've got a sticky note off to the side, say, hey, okay, today I need to make a flyer. I need to call this person to set up an event for Badge for a Badge. I need to email this person back. I just set up another presentation with another reserve unit that we're going to try to speak to. That was done today. And even the little stuff, go drop off the dry cleaning. You want to have a steps throughout your day so you can check it off. And you can look at that list at the end of the day and go, all right, I did 5 things today. You may have not got to that 6th thing, but I did all this. And that's awesome. So it's the same thing you want to do the night before. Write down what's burdening you, and take a look at that and see what you can do the next day to lighten off some of those burdens. If it's financial issues or financial problems, maybe you can see, okay, well, I go to my coffee shop. This is something small and silly, but I go to the coffee shop every morning. Maybe I can save that $7 and I can put it towards lunch. Now I'm spending less on lunch because I saved that morning. And just little things that can step in, and now you're in the big picture. Oh, I saved $80 this week. So now I feel a little better financially. So kind of see where it's just making a plan. That's how you stay organized. That's how you can kind of keep yourself going, so you're not running all over the place and all the pieces can fit together.
Yep, very good. Excuse me. All right, let's explore purpose. That's the second element of our happy formula. And Matt, I've discovered that the big major life transformations or discovery, the real big discovery of your purpose often comes from devastation, an addiction, abuse, disease, death, disaster, something awful strips strips a life to its core, resulting in some big change. However, in my book, Turning Inspiration into Action, I share the transformational process that I've used to discover my purpose using inspiration. So how about you, Matt? Was there a specific moment or an event or a crisis or some inspiration that revealed to you the purpose you were meant to live?
Yeah, so actually, like I said, we have been talking to a few folks. I actually just got done speaking to one of our local National Guard units, and we have a whole presentation to kind of implement some peer support programs with them. So actually, there's a whole slide on that kind of shows and why I created Badge for a Badge. So I was a police officer about 5 years. I was in the Marine Corps for 6. And throughout that, I did see a major deficiency in mental health advocacy. In both of those lines of work, there's a major, and not even just police officer, firefighter, paramedic, all sorts of first responders, even telecommunications. There's a lot of traumatic events that occur. I don't have the statistics pull up, but the amount of first responders that experience traumatic events compared to the average person in a lifetime is, tenfold. And this spikes suicides. It spikes a lot of mental health issues. So, I was starting to recognize this and go, okay. And then one point we had an intern from a college come to my police department, and that's where the main thing was. She was studying or conducting a study on mental health. And I was like, wow, that's really cool. So because what she wanted to do was to implement mental health programs within police departments. And I'm like, all right, that's actually really cool. Let me look at that. And then I was still in the reserve. And then we actually, unfortunately, one of our Marines committed suicide. And I know that really rocked our entire unit. We really felt it to our core. We had pastors come in, we saw the family, they came in. It was just a devastating, especially for us that were close to this Marine. And I think that's the moment it kind of sparked in me, like, hey, okay, you know, if we had something set up to where, because we're all together right now, but all these guys, we're in the reserve, they go home at night, and it could have brought someone to the point where that was a traumatic experience for them. Because what's traumatic to me may not be traumatic to you, but I have to empathize that. You know, there's something that you can see, because it's the same, flip it around. I might experience something, you're like, hey, that's not a big deal, but to you, that's changes your life. So that's how it all came about. You know, we just want to be there for each other in those traumatic experience, whether it's traumatic to you or if it's not. It's someone else's burdened by this, and you want to be there for them, so that way you can have be the person they lean on.
How long ago was that death?
So that was about 4 years ago when I was still, or excuse me, it was 3 years ago when I was living up in the Boone area before I moved down here. So when I officially moved down to Charlotte, I was able to actually sit down and actually file the nonprofit paperwork and get things off the ground. So I started working on it in the background. You know, I did kind of start doing little things. It wasn't an actual organization. I was working with the High Country Crisis Team at the time, doing critical incident debriefs. And that also helped me kind of, you know, find the organizational piece to create this. So it's kind of like that. The whole purpose or the passion behind it came from my personal experiences. And then I got the organizational because I was, you know, had that experience debriefing, and I wanted to be on the proactive side, not the reactive side, because we can always be there for someone after something happens, but we want to prevent that from happening. We don't want to get to this point. We want it to happen. So critical incidents will always be there, but if we can prevent or save at least one life, that makes everything worthwhile what we're doing.
So was it an instant thing you learned about his suicide, and I mean, was it sudden? Was it something you thought about? How to take us back?
Yeah, sorry, I didn't cut you off. No, it was something I definitely thought about. You know, I was watching and just watching, you know, people, the emotions of everyone involved. Obviously, we had some, like I was close, but there were some people that were much, much closer to this Marine. So they were obviously in a way worse spot than I was. So I wanted to reach out to them, and I wanted to talk to them and kind of just, you know, even if it's something, just sharing stories. You know, it's always like, think about the good times, not the bad. You want to sit there and share stories. That just helps people, you know, kind of get through and cope with the loss. And it's not something where you're not even sitting around just talking about how bad it makes you feel. You're thinking, oh man, I remember when I went out with that guy, we got a drink and it was fun, you know, things like that, little things like that, you know, and you just kind of reminisce. And so I was sitting there thinking, and I wanted to make this on a broader and a bigger scale, because things happen to people who I don't know, but I want to have those resources available for those people. So that's why I wanted to create this organization, so someone could they hear about us and they want to log on and, oh, we have all these programs. Oh, we're having this event in a month, and I want to go meet some other people like me. I want to meet other police officers who are involved, or veterans, or reserve, or active. So this is kind of where we started there.
Very good. And one last question on that before we go to break. Many people, I wrote a whole book on this idea that it's easy to be inspired and decide, oh, I should do something to help first responders with mental health because you experienced that tragedy with your friend. Lots of people say that and react to that and say, I think I want to do this, but very often they don't follow through. So tell us, just to give us a minute or two on the obstacles you faced and why you pushed through and how you overcome, and what was the catalyst that this is the thing you were going to do?
Yes, sir. So the first biggest one is the bureaucracy. You got the red tape. You got to actually file through the federal government and through the state of North Carolina to become a registered 501c3 nonprofit. That did take quite a while. But once you finally figure out the legal ins and outs, that's one obstacle. Okay, that's the big one. That's the one that makes it so I don't have to pay extra taxes, and I can be recognized and actually receive grants and whatnot. So next, you know, the biggest and probably the hardest thing when it comes to this is marketing and creating, maybe not a following, but just creating, you know, a presence, so people know who you are, what you do, and how you help, and how can I find you. So a lot of that started, you know, it took a lot of work, you know, it took a lot of going around, and it still is I'm still trying to get off the ground, just because it's such a, like I said, I work a full-time job. My board members, they all work full-time jobs. We're all 100% volunteers. So that's a big thing. But it took me, you know, I went to all my local gyms, because I know a lot of, you know, first responders and veterans, they like to work out. So I posted flyers all over these gym community boards. I was leaving business cards in grocery stores and random places, anywhere that would let me leave them. I was going to different police departments. I was going to some of my old agencies up in the mountains, leaving flyers, talking to people. You know, I was emailing. I felt like a salesman. I was cold calling a lot of people. Right. You know, whether I got a response or not, that's okay. I'm not harassing anybody out here. I just want to let them know that we're here. Went to a bunch of different veteran-owned organizations, was able to let them know that we're here. And it just takes persistence. You just got to stay in it, and I will say it did fall a little to the wayside because I did have a job where I traveled a lot, but we were still able to do stuff virtually. And, now that I'm back full time, it's full swing. This whole month, every weekend's been full of something for badge. So we're definitely getting off the ground and people are starting to recognize us. And I just think that's a beautiful thing.
Right on. All right, Matt, let's take a quick commercial break for our sponsor to spread a little love with our audience.
Sir.
Happy is an intentional and lifelong journey, but it's hard to change and grow towards higher levels of happy without knowing where you're starting from. Our Happy Quiz puts a starting pin on the map to your happy living and provides additional guidance and motivation along the way. Just go to happyliving.com and take the Happy Quiz to get started on your road to happy.
And we're back, and this is the Something Significant Show, and I'm your host, Matt Gersper. And my special guest star today is Matt Bonestell. And he's done a lot of stuff in a short amount of time. He's been a barista, a restaurant cook and assistant manager, a sergeant in U.S. Marine Corps Reserves, a firefighter, a police officer, and a Special Response Team Operator. He's served as a public affairs athletics team officer for the Cary High School Navy Junior Reserve Officer Training Corps, and he's also served as a public relations executive and then the president of the Cary National or North Carolina chapter of the DECA, formerly known as the Distributive Education Clubs of America. And he's currently part of a catastrophic response team doing traveler's insurance. And he's also the founder of Badge for a Badge, a nonprofit organization on a mission to build communities saturated with healthy and happy first responders and active military officers. Oh, Matt, I do love that. And I think you're going to love this article that I found on livescience.com. It's called The Science Behind the Power of Giving. And it says the act of giving itself can be a gateway for discovering your reason for being on the planet. It tells how science supports the idea that giving one's time or talents or treasures is a powerful pathway for discovering purpose and overcoming difficulties and finding fulfillment and meaning in life. So I updated our formula. Power plus purpose plus giving equals really happy. So what do you think, Matt? Has giving your time and your talents and your treasure been a pathway for discovering your purpose and for getting past difficulties you've faced and for bringing real meaning into your life?
Yes, absolutely. No, that's one of the main things I like to derive from what I'm doing. I do like to give, and obviously we're not expecting anything in return. We're 100%, donor operated and ran. We do run some fundraisers, but that's just to keep small things going to let us be able to go do these events and just, in a little supplies or something like that, if we need a little something here and there, to make sure these operations are a go. And we like to, just give our time. Right now we're trying to work with local reserve units as well as all agencies around first responders to just be there. We also offer a 24/7 assistance for anyone that wants to call in. We have devoted volunteers, including myself, we call peer support contacts, that our personal phone numbers are listed on our website, and it says to call anytime you have a struggle. And it's one of those things, if it's something that might be a little over our heads for us to deal with, we have a plethora of resources to offer you and to connect you with. So we're not just going to be like, hey, it's something I can't deal with, sorry. We're not going to give you that answer. We're going to be like, hey, look, I'm here for you. We want to help you. We're gonna shift you over here to this, but I know it's 2 a.m, so we're gonna be here for you until maybe this resource becomes available in the morning or whichever. And then we also have some other programs. This whole organization is just about giving, and then all in the name of mental health. We want to create that resilience to make someone better. We don't want you to lose your job. We don't want you to just commit self-harm or anything of the sort. We want you just to be better and be more mentally fit all around.
And so the science tells us that what you're doing, this giving to others, helps bring real meaning to our lives. And that feeling that comes from the fourth element of significance, as we define it, doing work, which you are, that creates value for others, that confirms it. But there's something more, even more to it than just the giving. And I feel it deep within my spirit. And as I'm talking with my guests, Matt, what I'm learning is when you're giving from living in your purpose, that's where you just find the real magic of life.
Absolutely.
So Matt, the audience and I would like to experience how it makes you feel to be happily living your life and giving to others through the work you were put on this planet to do. And the people all around you have taken notice. So just sit back for a moment, open your heart, and listen to what people are saying about the impact you're making on their lives by finding the magic of purpose in your life.
Yes, sir.
One person told me, Matthew always leads with a compassionate heart. Your uncle responded, he said, he's my oldest nephew, and I'm very proud of the fine young man he's become. A fellow Marine told this story. He said, at a time when I was an E3 and losing motivation from my work, Matt privately but respectfully challenged my lack of attention to my tasks. I didn't feel scorned or berated, and I realized that my lack of action was the reason he was working so hard, without complaint, I might add. He said, he continued, well, that conversation with Matt got my ass back in gear. I started working my classes right and hitting the gym and re-engaging with my military brothers in my work. I was promoted about a year later. Matt is one great leader. He got my motivation and entire military career out of my head and back into my hands, and I barely knew him. Others said, he's always happy. He goes with the flow. Matt's a wonderful human, period. Someone said family-oriented, family first. His relationship with his dog is also amazing. He never misses an opportunity to fulfill a need. He's kind, considerate, generous, thoughtful, loving, caring. He organized toy drives for Christmas in the beach and Boone areas, and also a coat drive for anyone in need in Avery and Watauga counties, all while being in the Marine Corps and a full-time police officer. He would work covering holiday shifts as an officer to allow those with kids to be home. He has the biggest heart of anyone you'll meet, always a guy you can depend on, a great leader. Matt's work for Badge for a Badge shows his heart for giving back to his community and fellow emergency service providers. A very proud mama said, Matthew is one of the most determined and limitless achievers I've ever known. He always shows up. I couldn't be more proud of all his accomplishments and the heart that got him to where he is today. And finally, from a nonprofit colleague, said, keep up the good work and pushing this, Matt. We can and will change the stigma of first responders reaching out for help. So Matt, how does all that make you feel?
I mean, I'm at a loss of words. I mean, I didn't realize you were talking to all these people. So I appreciate you reaching out to them. And then like that one story, and that was obviously way before this was even an organization. So that really just kind of keeps me at a loss for words, but I'm thankful and I'm glad I could make an impact in those lives that I was able to. And it's back to those toy drives and coat drives. That's just something I did because I wanted to do it and had the opportunity and the means to do so and put those fundraisers on and be able to donate those kinds of things. So I'm just glad that people are receiving that help and that they recognize that and that we are able to make a difference and try to continue to make a difference.
Yep. And that's what this show is all about, Matt. It's finding that magic in each of our lives, and it's available to everybody. At least that's what I believe. And it comes from this great, big, happy circle. Giving your time and talents and treasures is a powerful pathway for discovering your purpose. And giving from living in your purpose brings a profound joy to your life and to the lives of those around you too. So it seems like giving leads to purpose and giving from purpose leads to joy. So to more properly capture the exponential power of our happy formula, Matt, I've got to tweak it just a little bit more. See how this power times purpose times giving equals happy to the third power, and that's really, truly, deeply happy. Does that sound about right to you?
Sounds about right.
All right, let's wrap things up, my friend, with a lightning round. I love the power of words and the capacity of great quotes to change lives. So I'm going to read a few of my favorites to you and have you tell us what they mean to you. Give us the first thing that comes to mind because it's called a lightning round.
I'm ready.
From Billy Joel, paraphrasing Socrates. The more I learn, the less I know.
That is absolutely correct. You're never done learning. There's a wealth of knowledge out there. And trust me, even if I want to, like my mother would say, you think you know everything. And yeah, at that time I may have, but nowadays I learned something and it just expands it blows my mind. You're never done learning. I could be 80 years old. You're still going to learn something new every day.
Yep, Right on. From Barry Finley, he said, every mountaintop is within reach if you just keep climbing.
That is very true. I've had a lot of challenges, but at the end of the day, you just keep working hard. Like I said, write down what you want to do the next day, accomplish it, and you may not get everything done. There's only 24 hours in a day, and you still got to try to get all that sleep and, spend time with your friends and family. So just keep knocking that to-do list down, keep knocking it down. That'll ultimately even make you a little more stress-free.
Yep, yep. This is from Rumi. He says, of all you see, only love is infinite.
Unconditional love is the thing. We can talk about religion, you talked about spiritual energy. When in religion, it's unconditional. I have unconditional love for pretty much anyone and everyone, just because we're all going through something. We just have to figure it out. And that's why we're here. We're going to help you figure it out, or just be there and you can shoot it and vent to us. So love is infinite.
From Albert Einstein, pretty smart guy, he said, we cannot solve our problems with the same thinking that we use to create them.
That is true. It's what's the insanity quote? It's doing the same thing, expecting a different outcome every time. If something's not working out, you got to tweak it. It might just be a little minor tweak, but it's going to change that outcome. You can't just do the same thing every day and expect different results.
Yep. That's back to Kaizen. Small little tweaks change things and make great big results.
Absolutely.
A few more from 2 Corinthians chapter 9, verses 6 and 7. He who sows sparingly will also reap sparingly, and he who sows bountifully will also reap bountifully. So let each one give as he purposes in his heart, not grudgingly or of necessity, for God loves a cheerful giver.
Absolutely. You see, and I'm not going to knock it down. I'm so glad they're giving, but you see all these influencers shoving phones in people's faces that they're trying to give. That's not what it's about. That you're not giving for the purpose of giving. You're giving for the purpose of popularity. Yes, you have to do a fair share of marketing to get out there, and yes, you have to be like, hey, we did do this. But I'm not, those late night phone calls I have, I'm not putting on Facebook the next day saying, hey, guess who I talked to today? And guess who I helped today? And you do it with a smile on your face. You could be tired. Everyone gets tired. You get exhausted. But at the end of the day, you have a purpose-driven life. You're doing a purpose. You love what you're doing. That's all I'm going to say. You love what you're doing, and don't do it with a frown on your face, because then you're just maybe got to change course and decide a different charity route. I don't know, but you got to love what you're doing.
That's true, my friend. Okay, this is Anchor from Goth. He says, whatever you can do or dream you can do, begin it. Boldness has genius, power, and magic in it. Begin it now.
I mean, you just got to put yourself out there. If you don't put yourself out there, you're going to get nowhere in life. And it's one of those things with, what was it, Wayne Gretzky, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. I may have been misquoting, I don't know. But yeah, that's 100% true. I've definitely, I've emailed, called, texted, went in person, without an appointment, with an appointment. You just got to keep trying. Persistence is everything. There's a fine line between persistence and harassing some people. You got to be a little careful. But no, at the end of the day, I mean, you just got to be able to just be courageous. I mean, it takes a lot to put yourself out there and risk it all. And I mean, yes, like I said, I have a full-time job, but that doesn't matter. I'll stay up late. I'll work those hours. I'll find a way to help those who need it. So you just got to be there.
Very good. Very good. And now, folks, it's your chance to be a giver too. If you can hear my voice and you were inspired by today's show with Matt Bonestell, won't you please share a little love with our amazing broadcast team by giving what you can to WITV7. They're a 501c3 charity on a mission to educate, empower, and encourage. They do good works with your kindness. Matt, I love how you've organized a team of dedicated volunteers from fire services, emergency medicine, the military, the police, telecommunications, and even corrections to focus on building a network of friendships amongst peers within your fields. And I admire what you call your big thing, that if you save even one life, this whole thing has been worth all the time and energy and effort that your team has put in. And I'm super happy that you've shared your determined, generous, and kind-hearted spirit on our show today. Would you take a minute or two and share any parting remarks you'd like to leave with our audience?
So just one, I appreciate everyone who tuned in and listened. I'm really glad we can share our story. And if you know anyone that needs us, you can find us badgeforbadge.org, badge for badge on all socials. I do want to thank especially my family for the kind remarks, and you guys have always been there for me. So I'm just very thankful for you, especially my friends, and of course all the volunteers on my board and those who may not be on the board but have definitely stepped in and stepped up. So I'm thankful for all of you and everything you guys have done for me.
Very good. And I also want to thank WITV7 for hosting and promoting our show, so we can keep interviewing inspiring guest stars like Matt and reaching folks just like you, ready to create your own extraordinary lives. And most especially, thank you, viewers and listeners. You'll find links to social media and all things Matt Bonestell. Find him, friend him, make a donation, or even better yet, join his mission to support first responders struggling with mental health as a volunteer. Just go to badgeforabadge.org. That's BADGEFOR, the letter A, and then BADGE again, .org. One more time, badgeforabadge.org. And from me to you, dear friends, I love you and I want you to be really, truly, deeply happy too. So go to happyliving.com right now and take our happy quiz, because measuring your happy helps you focus your attention on it, and focusing attention on happy attracts change and learning and improvement, all to flow right into your life. And once you take the quiz, and it only takes a minute, then please give some thought to what we can do together, you and me, to improve the happy of your world, one person at a time. Till next time, I'm Matt Gersper. You are awesome, and this is the Something Significant Show. We're out.